Okay, great. Ready to go. We're live here at Ashir in Shul. Thank you for all those who are joining me in person. Thank you to all those that will hopefully be joining me online as well. Okay, is this thing in the way, by the way? Can you see me? I'm fine. Okay, right. I'd like to discuss the following idea. This is a new idea that was developed tonight when I came into davening about 7:30, 25 to 8. Shai says to me, so what are you going to say? And I said, I'm not sure yet. It's percolating. So Baruch Hashem, we have Chazar Sashatz. Thank God for Chazar Sashatz. You know, somebody once said the reason why Jews do so well in business is because they have Chazar Sashatz. They have 5 minutes of absolute peace and quiet to just focus. I mean, some people actually take 40 minutes. They get up in hi David. They get up in the so my brother-in-law's just joined us. They get up in the morning, they put on the tefillin, and then for 40 minutes they meditate about what they're going to do in business. You know, once in a while they hit like bang. I'm like, why? Who's disturbing the middle of my thoughts? But they only realize up to Slach Lanu. But in general, Baruch Hashem, I'd like to share this idea with you. I'd like to see what you think of this idea. So I want to know, what is Pashas Mattos? Last week was Pashas Pinchas. You see, if you look in the books, Baruch Hashem, my son had his bar mitzvah last week, and if you look, you'll find that there are different haftarahs you can read for Pashas Pinchas. Pashas Pinchas sometimes is in the 9 days, sometimes it's in the 3 weeks, sometimes it's not in the 3 weeks. So you'll have different haftarahs. Mattos will always be in the 3 weeks. And so therefore, last week we read the haftarah of Pashas Mattos for Pinchas. And this week we'll read the haftarah of Pashas Masei. The Mattos is always in the 3 weeks. So what's the connection between Pashas Mattos? I'm working with Mattos this week. There'll be probably a connection for Masei also. But what's the connection between Pashas Mattos in the 3 weeks, and what can we learn from that? So I'd like to take you on to the following idea. Hi, Avril. And the idea is as follows. You have in Pashas Mattos, in Shishi, Bnei Gad Bnei Reuven, Bnei Gad Bnei Reuven, they had tremendous amount of flock, tremendous amount of sheep. They see as Yazav, as Gilad, they look around and say, wow, look how much grazing place there is for our sheep. And so they come to Moshe Rabbeinu and they say, Atorois, Divon, Yazan, Nimra, Cheshman, El Ale, Svam, Navaina, Oin. They tell you all the places they're going to. Ha'aretz, Ashikla, Hashem, Lifnei, Anas Yisrael, Etz, Mikna, Huval, Mikna. Look around. Kosh Baruch Hu gave us this wonderful land, and the land is great land for pasture. And then they move on to part 2, and part 2 of this is, Vayomron, they said, if we find favor in your eyes, let's have this land. I'll have rain this and don't take us across the Jordan. Let's just stay over here. And then Moshe Rabbeinu goes on what looks like a rant almost. You know, sometimes people have a rant, and you stop them and they're like, hey, I'm still talking. I know, I got the point. Now I'm still talking. Let me finish this. So Moshe Rabbeinu goes literally on what seems like a rant. Vayomer Moshe, and Moshe says to them, what, your brothers are going to come to Milchama and you're going to stay here? Why are you taking the Bnei Yisrael's heart and moving it away from coming across the land to the God wanted? This is what your fathers did. When I sent the Kosh Banet to see the land, they came to Nachal Eshko, they saw the land, they turned around Bnei Yisrael's heart, they didn't want to come to the land that Kosh Baruch gave to them. And Kosh Baruch got angry at them and he swore, if these people will see you come out of Mitzrayim from 20 years old and older, the land that I promised Abraham and Yaakov, because they didn't keep my things, except for Kaleb and Yefunah, Knis and Shimon, because they kept my word. And Kosh Baruch got angry at Klal Yisrael and he brought them in for 40 years until the entire generation died out. And now you show up. We finally get to the end of those 40 years, and now you guys show up. Instead of your parents. To try to add HaKadosh Baruch Hu's more, you get more angry. To add more anger and more fear to this. If you do this and Klal Yisrael stays for even longer in the Midbar, you know what you're going to do? You're going to ruin it for the entire Klal Yisrael. That is a serious rant. You don't get these very often. There's like only 1 or 2 of these in the Torah. There's a few that one of my favorite rants in the Torah is when Yaakov Avinu gives it to Lavan. He's got 20 years with Lavan. And finally he runs away and Lavan catches up with him and Lavan goes through everything and he says, you can look around, take whatever you want. Look, if I have your things, he looks through everything. And finally, you ran after me. I worked for you like 20 years like a dog. I always paid my things on time. Nothing ever went missing. He mamish gives it to Lavan. This is one of those occasions. Moshe Rabbeinu literally seems to lose it over here. What's with you people? We're about to go. You're changing this around. This is what happened then. Now we're finally at the end of this. We finally got the end of 4 years. You're starting all over again. We're going to stay again in the midbar. They say, no, don't worry, we're going to build ourselves things for our sheep, we're going to build cities for our families, and we will go across, etc., etc. So did Moshe Rabbeinu read it wrong? Was there an issue over here? And what happened? Did Moshe Rabbeinu lose it? And it almost sounds like that, because they don't even answer Moshe Rabbeinu's kindness. They don't say, Moshe Rabbeinu, no, you're wrong. And yet they say, well, of course, it sounds like we had always planned on going across to help Klal Yisrael do this. I mean, it's just, this is where we want to stay. We just want to go with Klal Yisrael, And then they make a Tanai, and they make a famous Tanai, may go to Bnei Reuven, the 3 things they need for a Tanai, etc., etc. All that is involved in this whole idea. But Moshe Rabbeinu really gives it to them. And after Moshe Rabbeinu really gives it to them, they have an answer. And they make a deal, and that's it. So what's going on over here? So I thought, I was looking at it, and I found a very interesting thing. There are 2 things that stood out to me. One of them is famous, but the other one I think is not so famous. And I think within that, if you go through the story and you reread it now with Moshe Rabbeinu's eyes, and you see what's going on, you see that Moshe Rabbeinu got it exactly right, obviously. And he needed to tell Klal Yisrael what to do, and he needed to tell the Bnei Reuven and Gad what to do, and he needed to set up a safeguard for the Bnei Reuven and Gad, and only after that did Moshe Rabbeinu agree. So let's reread it. They come to Moshe Rabbeinu and they say, Atorah is diva and Yaz and Nimrod Cheshbon all these cities, look, they're telling you, look around, Manchester, Bolton, Ramsbottom, Bury, Prestwich, they're giving like a whole list. And then they get to the end of the list and say, we have so much flock. And then they continue. They're setting up. Sometimes your kids, they find a way to Daddy, you're always so nice to me. You're like, okay, what's coming now? Right? What do you want? I was just thinking, okay, just spit it out. Come on. So now they say, if we found favors in your eyes, let this land be given to your people as an achuzah, as a place to remain. And now they add another sentence that they didn't need to add. How does that sentence end? And that's I've never really focused in on this. Al tavireinu sayadin. Don't take us across. And Moshe Rabbeinu goes, whoa. You want this as your land? Fine. But as soon as they said, Al tavireinu sayadin, they're saying more than that. They're saying, we want to stay here, and we're not even going across. We don't want to go there. That's not the place we want to. We want to be here. So Moshe Rabbeinu says, I see already that you guys, you're not planning on going at all. So Moshe Rabbeinu quite correctly corrects them here, and he says to them, he says, wait a minute, this is what happened last time. You're some of the strongest people in Klal Yisrael. If you say you don't want to go across the yard, then people are going to think you're afraid. If they think you're afraid, they will be afraid. If they don't want to go across, they'll turn into another rebellion. And then the whole thing, we waited for 40 years finally to be able to come into Eretz Yisrael, and you're ruining it for everybody. Say Klal Yisrael, say Bnei Reuven and Bnei Gad, and they still don't have it right because they're still focusing on the wrong thing. And this is the famous bit. So they say, no, you got it wrong. That's not what we're planning on doing. Okay, let's change. And Rashi points out they made a major mistake over here. What did they say? What was the most important thing to them? So, our panosa. Look. We have got lots of sheep. And what about your kids? We'll get to the kids soon. Right now, let's sort out the panosa, then we'll worry about the kids. And Moshe Rabbeinu says, no, that's not how we do it. First thing you do is you build cities for your families. Then when that's settled, then you can start building things for your sheep. Don't think of your sheep before you think of your children. And even here, Moshe Rabbeinu hears still there's an issue there. there's a problem, because he can hear that these Bnei Reuven and Bnei Gad have their priorities mixed up. Instead of putting their children before their money, they put their money before their children. And so again, we're dealing with an issue, and again, we're dealing with a problem, and again, Moshe Rabbeinu was very frustrated. What's with you people? And so Moshe Rabbeinu says, wait, we'll make a deal. You need to go across. You build yourself the cities, you build yourself the things for your sheep, etc. You need to go across and make a Bnei Reuven, Bnei Gad, double Tanai, etc., Tanai, so whatever, everything has to be correct. And then he adds something else. Do you know what else he gives them? He gives them Chatzi Shevet Menashe. What did we read about Shevet Menashe last week? Matikravna b'noi Tzlofot, ben Chefer, ben Gilad, ben Mocher, ben Menashe, l'mishpachas Menashe ben Yosef. These are part of the family of Menashe. And why do we Mishpachas Menashe ben Yosef? Yosef said, Yosef was Mechabes Haaretz. Yosef loved Eretz Yisrael. He says, bring up my Malisim at Atzma Yitchem. I want to get to Eretz Yisrael. I want to be buried in Eretz Yisrael. So therefore, Yosef was Mechabes Yisrael. His great grandchildren, there's like 6 generations, the Bnei Tzlofot, they're fighting for a piece of the land. Says Moshe Rabbeinu, you guys don't want to go to Eretz Yisrael. Do you know what you need? You need shlichim, so to speak. We need to send you some Eretz Yisrael people. Yeah, the Bnei Reuven, the Bnei Menashe were the BA people. I don't know, they came from the JNF or they came from the UJA. They are people that are going to come and teach a little bit of tzionut to the Bnei Reuven and the Bnei Gad. We're going to teach them. So we take the people that have chibur v'aretz, the people that are great grandchildren of Yosef HaTzadik, and we're going to stick them on the other side of the Yarden, not for their own need, but for the needs of Bnei Reuven and Bnei Gad, for them to understand you need to live with the people now. I see there's something very wrong over here. And so if you read it correctly, if you read it, Moshe Rabbeinu didn't get it wrong. Moshe Rabbeinu read it right. They got it wrong. Moshe Rabbeinu set them straight, and they said, okay, fine. You set us straight, we'll work with the way you want us to work with it. But Moshe Rabbeinu told them off because they deserve a telling off. Because they said, Al Tavireinu Seyanim, if you don't want to go. And even after that, when they said, Al Tavireinu Seyanim, Moshe Rabbeinu says, you have to go. Says, okay, we'll go, but let's think of our money, then we'll think about kids. Moshe Rabbeinu said, these guys haven't got their priorities all mixed up. And in order to fix everything, he needed to put things into place. But I thought there were 2 major lessons over here, and these are the lessons I think that we can take for ourselves coming to the 9 days. If you think of the 9 days, and you think specifically of the Chol Beis Hamikdash, and you think of Eretz Yisrael, so many people discuss the heter of living in Chutz La'aretz. Is there heter b'chlal to live in Chutz La'aretz? If you can live in Eretz Yisrael, why don't we live in Eretz Yisrael? What's the heter to live in Chutz La'aretz? Why do we live in Chutz La'aretz? So there are different heterim. Parnasa, other things, chinuch, there are different reasons why I can live in Eretz Yisrael. But I think there's another issue that we need to deal with. There are 2 issues. One issue is, why do I live in Chutz La'aretz? But the second issue that's really, really important on top of that is, once I do live in Chutz La'aretz, what is my attitude to Eretz Yisrael? And that's really, really important, specifically now for the 9 days. So let's look at the Bnei Reuven and Bnei Gad. Bnei Reuven and Bnei Gad say, look at us, we have so many sheep, we have so much flock, we can't manage to live in Eretz Yisrael. Is that a valid taina avanda? It is a valid taina. They were allowed to say that. They had a right to say, we just don't think there's enough pasture in Eretz Yisrael. But now comes the bigger problem. You know what they say now? Al Tavireinu Seyanim. Do you know what? I don't want to go there. Do you ever hear people bad mouth Eretz Yisrael? For whatever reason, we live in Chutz La'aretz because we live in Chutz La'aretz. Because you have a parnasa here, because you're involved in chinuch or in kirov or whatever else it is. Hey, Johnny. But after all that is said and done, what's your attitude to Eretz Yisrael? Sometimes you speak to Eretz Yisrael, I think Americans have this even worse than English people. English people, they're not as particular. But I remember we used to have Americans, the way they used to drag Eretz Yisrael through the dirt. I could never live in this country, a 3rd world country. no air conditioning, and all they have is May Eden and Neviot water that tastes disgusting, and the toilet paper is no good, and they don't have Heinz ketchup, and wherever you go, people are rude, and they push you, and they have no manners, and the meat's no good there, and the chicken's no good there, and the catering's no good there, and everything's better in Borough Park and in Flatbush and in America, and nobody's got a car, and you live in these tiny little flats, and nothing's good. And if you're there, okay, you're there, you got to manage. There's only one mirror, and the only place the mirror is in Yerushalayim, so you want to learn in the mirror, so you have to live in Eretz Yisrael. You want to learn a brisk, you have to live in Eretz Yisrael. A lot of people go to Lake Otaka. They don't even want to learn these places. But even you want to learn it. So the price to pay for learning in Mir Yeshiva is that you have to rough it out in Arze Abira. Rough it out in Machal and Malataf. It's awful. You can have this big 5-6 bedroom place in Lakewood with 2 cars, and nebuch, you have to take Egged buses that make you nauseous, and you have to live in a 2-bedroom flat somewhere in Arze Abir. And your wife has nothing to do, and she walks the kid up and down, and in the morning she goes to the gym, to the YMCA. In the afternoon she's getting shakes, and also, all these things. But you hear the negativity coming through from people about Eretz Yisrael. That's where we have it wrong. Tell me the following. You know what? I live in Chutz La'aretz. For whatever reason, I live in Chutz La'aretz. And there are heterim for living in Chutz La'aretz, and we're all living here beheter in Chutz La'aretz. I'm not getting up here and saying everybody's Oiv and Avera, we're living in Chutz La'aretz. But are you saying part 2? Are you saying Al Tavireinu Sayardin? Are we saying I could never live in Eretz Yisrael? Oh, the climate there is so hot. I wouldn't manage. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, this is my land. This is your home. This is our dream. You say to people, we dream one day HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to bring Mashiach. We're all going to move to Eretz Yisrael. Oh, no. We're going to have to leave London. We're going to have to leave New York to move to stuffy Yerushalayim and Tel Aviv. That's all HaKadosh Baruch Hu has in store for us. Please let the Mashiach not come in my days. It's awful. What a terrible place to live in. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, keep your Mashiach. Maybe after I die you can bring Mashiach. Right now it's just too inconvenient. That's the Al Tavireinu Sayadin. That's our attitude. And you have to ask yourself the question, is my attitude like that? Do I say, I wish I could live in Eretz Yisrael, but for whatever reason I have to live in Chutz La'aretz and I can't live in Eretz Yisrael? Okay, so then you at least have your hashkafa correct. Then you say to yourself, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I want Mashiach to come. I wish I could live in Eretz Yisrael. And some people actually pick up and they do move to Eretz Yisrael. But even if you cannot pick up to move to Eretz Yisrael, but at least you realize I would love to live there. This is HaKadosh Baruch Hu's land. There's a kaisel there that I can stand at the kaisel at the closest place to the Makam HaMikdash, and I can down HaKadosh Baruch Hu in a place I cannot done anywhere else. There's a certain intensity in the Yiddishkeit and in the learning and the downing there. Right, sorry. Wi-Fi wasn't good. Point 2, you need to ask yourself another question. And that's a really important question you need to ask yourself as well. Klal Yisrael are being told off here. The Bnei Reuven and Bnei Gad rather are being told off over here. Why are you taking the Jewish people and pulling them away from Eretz Yisrael? Okay, Bnei Reuven, Bnei Gad, you don't want to go to Eretz Yisrael, fine, you don't want to go to Eretz Yisrael. It's not great, but we'll live with it. You know what the issue is? Shimon, Levi, Yehuda, Yisachar, Zvulun, Dan, Naphtali, Asher. They're all looking at you. And they're all seeing that these people actually don't want to go to Eretz Yisrael. And because they don't want to go to Eretz Yisrael, for whatever reason, they will get afraid. They will start feeling, I can't go to Eretz Yisrael either. How can I go to Eretz Yisrael? Nobody wants to go to Eretz Yisrael. Bnei Reuven and Gad don't want to go to Eretz Yisrael. They want to live in Chutz La'aretz. And Moshe Rabbeinu tells them, if you're going to be the cause of other people not going to Eretz Yisrael, that's a tremendous riches. That would be terrible. If that is what you would do to Klal Yisrael, that would be a tremendous avla as well. The Lamos and Neonas lay Bnei Yisrael. Why are you taking the Bnei Yisrael and you're turning the heart around and you're saying that they shouldn't go to Eretz Yisrael? Because if you don't go, they don't go. If you look like you're afraid, everybody else is going to get afraid, and if everybody else is going to get afraid, nobody's going to want to go, and if nobody wants to go, then everybody stay chutzarts, and you're going to ruin it for everybody. And that's the other question you have to ask yourself. Maybe not in the same way as you ask yourself the first question. Am I ruining it for other people? Either with my attitude or with my actions. Attitude is what we mentioned before. If you don't like Eretz Yisrael, fine. It's not great, but fine. You don't like Eretz Yisrael, you don't like Eretz Yisrael. But if you don't like Eretz Yisrael, and then you start telling everybody else, all your friends, I used to live in Eretz Yisrael, I lived there for a few years, what a third world country, and everything is backwards, and the tax system is backwards there, and the taxis are backwards over there, the buses are backwards over there, everything is backwards. Eretz Yisrael is one big backwards place. So not only do you now yourself feel al taverein sayadin, you're stopping other people from having that connection to Eretz Yisrael. But more importantly than that as well, you have to ask yourself the question, are my actions causing that other people are not able to go into Eretz Yisrael? And what do I mean with that? We all know that sinas chinam is the thing that brought down the Beis Hamikdash, that brought down Klal Yisrael. So you have sinas chinam nowadays. Ask yourself the question, am I guilty of sinas chinam? Am I as guilty as everybody else for baseless hatred? And am I a cause for Klal Yisrael not coming back to the Beis Hamikdash? She says, oh, it's not me. Everybody has sinas chinam. Or Lashon Hara. Chavetz Chaim writes in his Hakdama to Chavetz Chaim that Lashon Hara is one of the main causes for sinas chinam, for baseless hatred. So if you have Lashon Hara, you speak badly about other people, you cause baseless hatred, you're creating, again, a problem with the Beis Hamikdash. So the reason, maybe, why the Beis Hamikdash is not being built is because of my sinas chinam, it's because of my Lashon Hara. It's not me. Do you know how many other people speak Lashon Hara? Do you know how many other people hate other people? Why are you blaming me for? You're right. But we all have an achrayus for Klal Yisrael. We all have an achrayus to the entire Jewish people. You do your bit. So you say, but other people still speak Lashon Hara. Other people you can't change. Well, what about you? Are you doing your bit to make sure that you're not stopping the Geula? Are you doing your bit to make sure that Mashiach is not stopping himself from coming because of your actions? Speaking about achrayus to Klal Yisrael, I had a very interesting trip. On Wednesday, I was in Berlin. They have a rabbinical seminary in Berlin. I was amazed really by what's going on in Berlin. It's 70 years after the destruction in Germany, and I know lots of people that say, I'll never go to Germany, I'll never buy German products, and I don't want to stop over in Germany, I don't want to have anything to do with Germany. But bottom line is, whether you like it or not, and there was a whole, I don't know if everybody read all the different letters in Mishpacha. There was an article, I think, that Jonathan Rosenblum wrote on Mishpacha about the rebuilding of the community in Berlin, and then somebody wrote an article saying how terrible it is. Oh, do you want to let them in, whoever it is? Somebody wrote an article saying how terrible it is that there's a community in Germany, and how could we have a community in Germany, and how awful and how terrible it is that we should have communities in Germany. And somebody else wrote back, what do you mean? And then I spoke to the guy there. They've created a Lakewood Kollel in Germany. So they have 5 in the line from Lakewood and a Rosh Kollel that are there in Berlin. Young Chaver that are there, they're learning Shtak B'Asmada. I saw them learning Hilchos Nida and the Maseches Nida, as well as being mechazik the entire community over there. I was there, guess what? They have a kindergarten there that has 120 kids. This is a frum kindergarten with 120 kids. That's serious. That's a serious kindergarten. And if it keeps moving at that pace, they'll have a serious community because they have enough from people and enough young children to start building a school and to start moving on, etc., etc. And one of the Avrechim wrote the final letter. I think that was the Makeh B'Patish that ended the entire discussion. And he wrote a letter into Mishpacha saying, my name is, and I don't remember what the name of the fellow was, my name is so-and-so, and I live in Berlin, and I'm a younger man that's learning in the kollel in Berlin. I want to tell you what's going on in Berlin, and I want to explain to you what's going on in Berlin. And then I want to explain to you, do you know why we are in Berlin? Not for the Germans, for the Jews. There are Jews that are living in Berlin, and those Jews need people to be mechazik them. And those Jews are starved of Torah, and those Jews need teachers, and they need rabbonim, and they need rebbeim, and they need yoga light. And that is why we went to Berlin. And that ended the entire discussion. And it has to end the entire discussion. Because here are people that are taking achrayus for Klal Yisrael and saying, I have an achrayus. There are people here that I can give to, and for whatever reason in my life, it is possible for me. These are young people with young children. So even if they're worried about chinuch later on, but at the moment, they definitely feel that they can give the children a chinuch in Germany. They're not going to, if the kids live there till age 5 or 6, nothing's going to happen. You're not going to ruin your children. You're going to ruin their chances never to have chinuch. But they took it on for Klal Yisrael. They're saying we are doing this for Klal Yisrael. And this is what we need to have. And Moshe Rabbeinu was telling Bnei Reuven and Bnei Gad, where is your achrayus for Klal Yisrael? Where is your taking responsibility for the Jewish people? If you're not willing to take responsibility for the Jewish people, and because of you, the entire Jewish people are not coming back, oh, then you're in big trouble. But that's not only a message for them. It's a message for us, and specifically a message in the 3 weeks and in the 9 days. Are you the cause of Klal Yisrael not going back? And don't be harsh on yourself, but are you the cause? Am I doing the things I'm not supposed to be doing? Am I having an active part in trying to rebuild the Beis HaMikdash? Or am I taking an active role in taking apart the Beis HaMikdash, in ruining the Beis HaMikdash, in making sure the Beis HaMikdash is not going to be rebuilt? Because we say, Kol Dar, every generation, shall I live the Beis HaMikdash, that the Beis HaMikdash wasn't built in that generation. Ki'ilu nechrav. It's Keilah was destroyed in our generation. That means we didn't fix it yet. If we didn't fix it yet, we are still as guilty as they were then of all those sins and of all those iniquities and of all those problems and all those issues. But it's in our hand to fix it. And this is the other lesson of the Bnei Reuven and Gad. Take responsibility for Klal Yisrael. Take responsibility and say, you are willing to realize that Klal Yisrael needs to go free. We need the Geula desperately. That here, it's not good. We want to be in Eretz Yisrael. We're not saying Al Tamri Reina Seyadin. We're saying one day that is our hope, that is our dream, that is our prayer, that we'll end up there in Eretz Yisrael. Maybe sooner than later. And we're going to take responsibility for it. We're going to do everything we can. And then let Hakadosh Baruch Hu do the rest. The Bnei Reuven and Bnei Gad, they probably also had a cheshbon. They said, you know what, it's all going to happen miraculously anyway. If it all happens miraculously, you know what? And it's the same thing. People say, Mashiach's going to come with my Lashon Hara is not going to change Mashiach. He'll come. He won't come. But it's not my Lashon Hara. That's what Reuven and Bnei Gad are saying. It's not us crossing the Yarden. Whether we cross the Yarden or not, Hakadosh Baruch Hu is going to help the Klal Yisrael get the land anyway. So what difference makes? So we won't go across the Yarden. Moshe says that's a mistake. You take responsibility. Yes, Hakadosh Baruch Hu will do it, but you take responsibility. And it's the same idea for us. Hakadosh Baruch Hu will bring Mashiach. He will bring Mashiach. Hashem. But does that mean I'm absolved of responsibility to try to do my utmost to bring Mashiach? To try to do what I can to bring Mashiach? Because if I don't do what I can, then I'm still guilty. She said, but I can't bring Mashiach. I've not asked you to bring Mashiach. I've just asked you not to stop them from coming. If each person here makes sure that they don't ruin it, just don't ruin it. That's all you need to do. Take your responsibility for Klal Yisrael and change your attitude towards Eretz Yisrael from one that's negative to one that's positive. And we've done a great, great thing. We're one step closer to building a Beis HaMikdash, and we will understand exactly what this parasha is doing over here. We've learned the lesson of Bnei Reuven and Bnei Gad, and then HaKadosh Baruch Hu will take us all into Eretz Yisrael. Mitzvah Hashem, Mashiach Tzidkeinu, B'mehera B'yameinu Amen. Thank you.